All right, guys, let's continue on with the commentaries on the Gallic War by Gaius Julius Caesar. This is entry number 17. Entry number 17. How long is this? Not too long. Let me read a little bit just to get some idea where we're at. Oh, yeah, no. So I kind of know what's going on. So there's something going on right here on number 16. So Caesar and his army, they're sort of escorting, they're sort of or no, they're trailing the Helvetians because the Helvetians are causing trouble going through the land. They're being dishonest, but they also have a history, the Roman people and the Helvetians seem to have gotten the better of it. And historically, they've sort of been more prosperous when it came to battles with the Romans. Um, so they've kind of been underestimating Caesar. And so Caesar's been following them. Remember, they're like about 6 miles apart, but they're keeping an eye on them so that way they don't, as the Helvetians are going through the the land that is not theirs, they're causing trouble, and Caesar doesn't really want to engage with them for whatever reason. But these are humans and they're walking, so they're getting hungry, and the route that the Helvetians have taken, it's a route that if they would have took the other route, going down that path, there was a better food supply for the Romans, but now they don't have no food, so that's pretty much where we're at right now. And Caesar's been trying to get some food, but some of his people, part of his important people of this area, are not really listening to Caesar, and he's pretty frustrated. So let's see what's going to happen. So this is commentary 17. Then at length Lycus, moved by Caesar's speech, discloses what he had hitherto kept secret, that there are some whose influence with the people is very great, who, though private men, have more power than the magistrates themselves, that these by seditious and violent language are deterring the populace from contributing the corn which they ought to supply, by telling them that if they cannot any longer retain the supremacy of Gaul, it were better to submit to the government of Gauls than of Romans, nor ought they to doubt that if the Romans should overpower the Helvetii, they would wrest their freedom from the Aedui together with the remainder of Gaul. By these very men, said he, are our plans, and whatever is done in the camp disclosed to the enemy that they cannot be restrained by him. Nay, more, he was well aware that, though compelled by necessity, he had disclosed the matter to Caesar, at how great a risk he had done it, and for that reason he had been silent as long as he could. Very political right here. So then at length Lycus, moved by Caesar's speech, discloses what he had hitherto kept secret, that, in quotes, there are some whose influence with the people is very great, who, though private men, have more power than the magistrates themselves. So they're probably like businessmen, right? Men of wealth, men of some prestige. Maybe they have a lot of land. They're leaders, but they're not really like soldiers. They're more political men. They're more democratic, you can say. They're diplomatic, maybe, but they're not men of war. So there are some whose influence with the people is very great, who, though private men, have more power than the magistrates themselves, that these by seditious and violent language are deterring the populace from contributing the corn which they ought to supply. Also, Caesar's like, what? Like, I'm looking out for you guys, and so I'm just asking for a favor. My soldiers need to be fed, right? My soldiers need some food. But these people are like, they're conflicted because the loyalty to Gaul, which is their homeland, but then there's the Roman soldiers are here, kind of the more powerful, like brother nation, you would say, maybe. And so there's some people they're probably conflicted, right? Kind of reminds me of America in Iraq, or was it Afghanistan? The way they left Afghanistan, right? Was it's one of those countries? the people, America goes there, and there's obviously some people that want better for their family. They want democracy, they want Western influence. They want their kids to be educated and to go to school and have better opportunities. And then so like, yeah, we'll help you guys. We'll help you. But then you have those other people, and then once America left, the people who were still for the mother country, you know, they look at those people like traitors, and what do? They killed them. If they weren't valuable, they killed them. If they weren't people who knew how to run the water systems or the electrical systems or didn't have like they killed them. And I'm sure they even killed those people once they forced them to give up all the proper information on how to run the infrastructure. So it's so anyway. So by telling them that if they cannot any longer retain the supremacy of Gaul, like if they're going to give up the power to the Romans, it were better to submit to the government of Gauls than of Romans. Nor ought they to doubt that if the Romans should overpower the Helvetii, they would wrest their freedom from the Aedui together with the remainder of Gaul. Like, they're not trying to help you. Like, they're going to stop the Helvetii because they want to take over Gaul. They don't want the Helvetii to take over because they're one and the same, right? They're no different. So by these very men, said he, are our plans, and whatever is done in the camp disclosed to the enemy, that they could not be restrained by him. Nay, more, he was well aware that though compelled by necessity, he had disclosed the matter to Caesar. By these very men, said he, are our plans. So he's like, these men are the reason why, these are our plans because of these men, and whatever is done in the camp disclosed to the enemy, that they cannot be restrained by him. Nay, more, he was well aware that though compelled by necessity, he had disclosed the matter to Caesar at how great a risk he had done it, and for that reason he had been silent. None of that matters. What matters is there's this is all reason. This is real. This is real. Of course, there's gonna be people like that. They're gonna, of course, right? Of course, and there's gonna be people that love Caesar and people that hate Caesar. It's very interesting.